Hey everyone. Hey, I just want to share that we just completed an executive forum this month, and our specific topic was about how operational leaders can restore accountability in the next 90 days and start 2026 aligned and on target. And I know that there are many teams out there who have had a crazy year. There's so many changes that are happening. There's so much pivoting that needs to happen. And what happens in the midst of all that change, sometimes people just go in their little cocoon and they do their work and they step forward, but it's not a bigger picture piece. And so individuals and teams are struggling this year with all the change and disruption that's actually happening. So what's interesting is we had someone attended that talked about one of her connections thought that communication was the challenge. But they did a survey to find out that there was so much communication that they were over communicating and people were ignoring it. But the real problem was around accountability. And so we had a fantastic conversation with our leaders today about accountability and how, based upon what's actually happening in your organization, and if your leaders are not engaged with your team members and you're not communicating with them and you're not listening to them, your team members just kind of wander off and do what they need to do and they collect their paycheck and they are disengaged. So we had some powerful tools about how to help leaders and teams in organizations. So, Victoria, what did you take away from the conversation today?
I wrote down a whole bunch of notes. And one thing that stuck out is something you just said, that year of change management.
Yeah.
And I really feel that on a number of different levels. People in all different kinds of industry are all echoing that. And I thought it was really interesting. I feel like we all know what accountability is in a general sense. But when you talked about things and really broke it down of what issues pop up when there is no accountability or it's lacking, and how many challenges that introduces into an organization, boy, it really hit home how important accountability is, and the fact that trust plays a big part in that. And so that was a big takeaway of it's really a the canary in the coal mine of, if there's no trust, there can't be any accountability.
Yeah. Well, and trust and psychological safety. Do
Hmm.
do team members feel safe enough to share what's actually happening, or perhaps a new suggestion? Because if that's not actually happening, then things get diminished and people go back into their silos. And I also want to point out that there was a leader on the call that actually talked about living her values because she felt like she recently made a change from her employers, and she didn't feel like she was living her values and it was diminishing her energy. And so it took a long time for her to make that change, but she did. And she can see now she's in a different organization how it changed her. And now she's living her values and she sees it, but she can also see how she is now making an impact at her former employer because she has a relationship with them and is helping them out during the transition. But she can see that the leaders that she's with, they actually have a vision and they are tying that vision to individuals' own values too. So it makes it personal, as in someone's moving forward. And we did a really cool visioning exercise in the session as well too, to ask, if your team was at 100%, remember the exact words, ideally in the level of accountability, what would be happening that isn't happening right now? And to be able to picture it in their mind's eye. And I think that makes a huge difference in people moving forward. Because if people don't have a vision, they just plug away. They just put one foot in front of the other and they can't see beyond. It's kind of like a hiking trail. What does it look like, on the end? What does it look like when you get to the top of the mountain? Otherwise, you're just going to
Exactly.
look at your steps here and there. So,
Yeah, and that was a great way to close it out too, because as you've said, that visioning is the way to get to where you want to go. Really seeing it, really feeling it in your body, experiencing it in your mind is just that first step in going the right direction. And so people left really smiling and positive about going back into the workplace and making changes positively until the end of the year.
yeah, no, that's awesome. So, yeah, and hopefully they'll take some of this information into their workplace. And they also shared how they appreciate coming to our executive forums because many times they just take away a little one or two golden nuggets and take it back to their workplace, and it helps them out too. So,
Yeah, how big of an impact that actually has, that they
yeah,
can take something they learn in this small little session
yeah.
and really have it resonate to a bigger team back in their own workplace.
Yep, yep, that's perfect. So if you're interested in attending our one of our executive forums, there's a link here, and click that to ask for an invitation. We'd love to have you join us to be part of the leader conversation. So thank you, Victoria. It was wonderful having you with me during this executive forum and this conversation, and we will see you next time.